Chronic apex locators. The dentin cementum junction has been recommended as an ideal apical termination for root canal preparation. The position of this histologic entity. This histologic entity, in the sense, the dentin cementum junction is a histologic entity, varies around the internal circumference of the canal by up to 3 mm across opposing walls. It is located approximately 1 mm away from the apical foramen. An apical constriction usually occurs in the region of the dentin enamel. An apical constriction usually occurs in the region of dentin cementum junction and often forms a natural apical matrix. It is the narrowest portal of entry of the pulpal vasculature from the periapical tissues and would be the smallest wound following the pulp removal. The topography of the apical constriction is variable and undetectable radiographically. Note: the topography of the apical constriction is variable, it is undetectable radiographically. Cutler investigated the root apices of teeth and provided a dimensional analysis of the apical morphology. He noted that the distance from the apical constriction to the vertex of the root increased with age and was recorded as between 0.5 and 0.6 mm. This distance was considered as a measurement to subtract from the radiographic apex to approximate the location of the apical constriction. Cutler investigated the root apices of the teeth and provided a dimensional analysis of the apical morphology. He noted that the distance from the apical constriction to the vertex of the root increased with age and was recorded as 0.5 and 0.6 and was recorded as between 0.5 and 0.6 mm. This distance was considered as a measurement to subtract from the radiographic apex to approximate the location of the apical constriction. Working length, that is the apical extent of canal preparation and obturation, is often the main variable in determining success or failure. Working length, which is the apical extent of canal preparation and obturation, is often the main variable in determining the success or failure. Seltzer et al. Were the first to report greater success in terminating, cleaning and obturating the root canal system just short of radiographic apex rather than overfilling or underfilling. Zogren et al. Investigated endodontic outcomes over an 8 to 10 year period in over 350 patients. They reported the best outcome was when the root canal filling was between 0 to 2 mm short of radiographic apex. Distances beyond the radiographic apex are more than 2 mm short of this point. Distances beyond the radiographic apex are more than the 2 mm short of this point, that is radiographic apex, more than 2 mm short of the radiographic apex, resulted in significantly lower success rates. These findings are in agreement with research conducted by other investigators and most recently by meta-analysis of the literature. Working length is the apical extent of the root canal preparation and obturation and is often the main variable in determining the success or failure. Setzler et al. Were the first to report greater success in terminating the cleaning and obturating the root canal system just short of the radiographic apex rather than overfilling or underfilling, right? Then how much short of the radiographic apex is needed? This is explained by Zogren et al. Zogren et al. Investigated endodontic outcomes over an 8 to 10 year period in over 350 patients. They reported the best outcome was when the root canal filling was between 0 to 2 mm short of the radiographic apex, whereas the distance beyond the radiographic apex or more than the 2 mm short of the radiographic apex resulted in significantly lower success rates. These findings are in agreement with research conducted by other investigators and most recently by meta-analysis of the literature. Chugal found variations in success rate of teeth root filled at different levels. Teeth with normal pre-operative pulse and periapical tissues enjoyed a high success rate when filled over 1 mm from the radiographic apex. On the other hand, teeth with necrotic pulse and apical periodontitis showed greater success when the canal filling was closer to the level of the radiographic apex. When the canal filling was closer to the level of radiographic apex, not saying at the level of the radiographic apex, said when the root canal filling was closer to the level of radiographic apex, the teeth with necrotic pulse and apical periodontitis showed greater success rates when the root canal filling was closer to the level of radiographic apex. From all the evidence cited, it is clearly prudent to be able to accurately prepare and fill root canals to a predetermined location in the canal short of the actual apical foramen. Ideally dentin cementum junction, that is ideally at the cementum dentin junction. From all the evidence cited, it is clearly prudent to be able to accurately prepare and fill root canals to a predetermined location in the canal short of the actual apical foramen, that is ideally at the dentin cementum junction. The common method of determining the root canal length. The common method of determining the root canal length for the past 100 years has been by radiography. You can see this in figure 15a, endodontic radiography. Right? This method unfortunately often leads to inaccuracies, even though various techniques for improved radiographic length determination have been developed. Even though various techniques for improved radiographic length determination have been developed, interpretation of the file's position on the radiograph and the surrounding anatomy is also prone to errors when using the bisecting angle technique. Not said paralleling technique, it's said when using the bisecting angle technique. Estimation of the canal length often varies greatly from the actual working length. Estimation of the canal length often varies greatly from the actual working length. Right? Estimation of the canal length often varies greatly from the actual working length. Right? The long cone paralleling technique has been shown to be more accurate. The long cone paralleling technique has been shown to be more accurate. Furthermore, radiographs only provide a two-dimensional representation of the three-dimensional object and can also be interpreted differently between clinicians between clinicians. In fact, reports of observer agreement in determining the file position found that agreement decreased as the distance from the radiographic apex increased. In fact, reports of observer agreement in determining file position found that agreement decreased as the distance from the radiographic apex increased. When the distance from the radiographic apex is increased, the agreement is decreased.